Hello everyone, welcome back to the second session on Zentangle Dingsplatz. Yes, so in the last session we drew this style. It's a beautiful Zendala. Today again we will be drawing on a Zendala and exploring the same string. The term Dingsplatz is actually derived from dingbats, and if you're aware, dingbats is something like embellishing or ornamenting some letters or some sentences, generally at the beginning or the end of some text. Yeah, it's kind of ornamental thing that you do to letters or sentences. It's actually called dingbats, and this is more kind of wonky version of that and called Dingsplatz. Yeah, the Z of course comes from the Zen factor. I'm again going to start with the nice and wonky crazy string here, something like this. Yes, and as I mentioned to you in the previous session also, it's nice if you keep your hand free and then draw it, although you can keep it like this and draw also, but the string somehow is more flowy and comes easily when you raise your hand and then freely just move your fingers uh, and draw the string. So let's get started. So I have my usual drawing tools and I'm going to start with my Micron 01. Let's get started and let's ink today's Dingsplatz again. So I'm just running through the pencil line again. So if you want to start with a border, you can. I have done away with the border part. But if you wish to start with a border, you can always do that. So just going over the pencil string that I have drawn. Inking it because it is very much a part of what we are going to be drawing. Yeah, and then the second step is again the same. So again give a covert kind of a look. So this is the other way to draw it. Yesterday we drew it a little differently. So I'm drawing the line and connecting with the corners at the same time. Yeah. Slowly do that exercise throughout, inside and then also outside. Yeah. So again go around, add an aura. Slowly. Doing the same exercise as we did in the last session, adding an inner and outer aura. And kind of, since we are connecting the auras to the corners also, it kind of gives a covert look. Take your time and slowly do that exercise throughout. Yeah, and finally connect these two. So now that we are done with it, let us now start inserting some more tangles. So what I'm going to do is start with a tangle called Bronx Cheers. Now you may if you want switch your pens to brown or keep it black only. Yeah. So I'm going to stick to black as of now. So let's get started with our Bronx Cheers. So either you can straight away ink and leave a highlight inside, or you can draw it a little differently, add another aura inside and then leave a highlight and then fill up the rest of the space, something like this. Yeah, it's just that you don't fill up the entire space. Certain sections are kind of empty and with a highlight so that they look discrete from each other. Yeah, so I'm purposely leaving some spaces, some bands, strands empty so that my Bronx chairs are clearly visible. Yeah, something like this. So you can draw as many as you want. I'm now going to add some plain orbs surrounding the Bronx chairs. So these are very small, tiny tipples surrounding my Bronx chairs. Take your time. It's not necessary that you give a certain shape, that's fine. Yeah, so done with that. And now let us extend some tentacles. So I am drawing a tangle called squid and adding a little weight to the second line as I draw the tangle. So take your time. So tangle is kind of going out of the center area this time. Yeah. So I'll continue in the same fashion. Keep drawing these long leaf tentacle kind of shapes all around. Keep rotating your tile. Adding a little weight to the second line as I draw. You can do that at the same time or you can get back to the lines later. That's entirely up to you. So keep rotating and draw the lines the way you wish to. No hard and fast rules there. Just like you draw a tangle called I don't know what is that tangle called which has those spokes all around. The cycle spokes. Yeah, so I have now started to draw behind. So you have to be little careful here. Be mindful. Go slow. So there's a lot of drawing behind here. So just take your time. Don't haste up. I'm just adding a little more thickness to the inner aura as I draw. So continue like this wherever you find space. Just like the tangle spoken. Yeah, that tangle is called spoken. or even like hollow we keep drawing behind, whatever you want to call it. Take your time and do that exercise slowly with full concentration, being mindful of what you are doing. So as many as you wish, not necessarily that all have to be seen, some may be hidden. Yeah. So again, continuing in the same fashion, some just not visible much. Go with the spaces you have. Again, adding a little extra weight to the innermost aura. Again, you have some spaces here. Take your time, just as you do for the Tangle Hollowbog, or probably spoken. I'm just going ahead and adding the tentacle shapes. Yeah. So if you want, you can just randomly add some where the bottoms are not really seen. Yeah. If you find empty spaces, yes, those are the spaces where you have to insert more. Take your time. I think that's enough, but you can, if you want, add more. Yeah. That's about it, right? So we will not add more. Let's stop here. So the next section I'm going to add, let's add the tangle cubine here. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is add one more aura inside, add a triangular, basically this is the square, but I've drawn it in a fashion that looks like a diamond, and then just join it. So a diamond kind of a shape there, and then just take it up. Again, adding one more aura inside, adding this diamond kind of a shape and connecting it. Take your time, slowly do the exercise for all these sections. Like this. Now this section is actually to be inked, and I would like to ink it because it will add drama to my tile, because we don't really have too much inking except for the center. Yeah, so let's go ahead. You can use a bolder nib if you want here. So I'm just going to go to each of these diamond shapes and ink it, and you can see how it instantly adds drama to your tile. So take that time and go to each and ink it nicely. Like this. Yeah. So I'm done with inking the cubines. And now the rest of the spaces, it is entirely up to you. If you want to add a little more drama, then what you can do is add another kind of aura outside what you have already drawn. Something like this. Just go with the spaces that you have. Not really thinking how, where. Right, so I'm just mimicking the outer shape that is formed. Like this, right? And then I'm going to add one more. Like this. Just going with whatever spaces I have, adding aura. One more layer. Now this outer aura, if you want, you can give a Marasu kind of a feel. Yeah. So I can just probably add 3 lines and ink alternate spaces. So I'm going around and adding 3 set of 3 lines. I'm going to do that throughout. Yeah. So once you are done with that, again just like Marasu, you have to ink alternate sections. So leave a slight highlight in the center, or you can do that with your chalk pencil also. And just go ahead and ink alternate sections. Tangle pattern Marasu used just like a border. So just leave a small highlight in between and just ink the rest of the space. Yeah. So slowly do that exercise throughout. You want to redo the lines, you can. So I'm done with that exercise. I just, alternatively filled in the sections just like the Tangle Marasu. Now rest of the space, either you can leave it as such or you can use your brown pen and just draw a simple tangle called Stir It Up, which is nothing but these kind of waving lines, wavering, cranky, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It's a nice filler tangle, something like this. Yeah. So just going to do that for all the remaining sections. Just a crinky line, not really deciding where to go, just filling up spaces. It's like a map or something. Yeah, the way you draw the boundaries of nations, something like that. So take your time, do that exercise throughout for the rest of the spaces if you want to. fill up the entire tile, or you can leave it as such, entirely your wish. Just kind of shake your hands, make them move in just about any direction, crinkly lines. And finally the space. Tangle is called stir it up. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. So let's get to shading first, and then we shall see if we want to add something more. So as far as your cubine is concerned, just add graphite on one side. Slowly take your time. Yeah. So let's first blend this. So I've almost added graphite to one side, totally covered with graphite, like this. Yeah, because it adds a lot of depth. Yeah. Then moving on to the center, so I'm going to add graphite around my bronze chairs. I'll try not to spread too much because I want a little bit of white also inside, although spaces are small and it would be little difficult to do that, but it would be nice to keep a little bit of white intact. So use the tip of your stub and then just blur the graphite. Don't pull it out too much. And then same for your bronze chair. Just going to stick to the edges and not spread it too much. Something like this. Yeah. So you can see how it immediately adds dimension. The white is important to add that dimension. Then comes this section from where the tentacles are coming out. It would be nice to really make it dark at the beginning. Yeah. And then some shading here, just as we did for the coffered look in the last session, like this. Yeah, so make sure you don't add too much. Again, the same exercise for all, just a slight touch there and some thick graphite here from where the lines are emerging. Spaces are small, so take it easy. Yeah, so I'm going to do the same thing for all. A little darker here since we have things coming out from there. Some bit of graphite here. Take your time, slowly go to each. Blend the graphite without blending too much. And then comes these lines. So we have to shade on both sides of these lines to kind of highlight the coffered look. So again, the center white is important, so don't blend too much. Keep this white intact. So that is our coffered look. Yeah. So now just a little extra darkness there. Yeah. Now comes the outside where we have drawn stir it up. Some bit of shadows there. Not too much. The spaces are small. You want your stir it up to be a subtle background. To show little bit but not very prominently. Yeah, something like this. So just take your time, slowly go to each of these sections. Like this. And last but not the least is our Marasu running through. So what you can do if you want is to redo the highlight with your chalk. Something like this. So it acts like kind of a shine or shimmer. Yeah, so I just have done the highlight once again with the pencil. Yeah. So as far as this Maraso is concerned, again, if you want, you can redo the line at places where you think they need to be revisited. Yeah, that's about it. I don't think we need to add anything else to our tile. Yeah. So let's close it here. So one last thing that you may do if you have your Gellyroll handy is to redo these dots, although they are very clearly visible. But if you wish, you can revisit them. Yeah. You can also add some dots here if you want to add a little mystical feeling, but it's again optional. You may or may not do that. A little mystique factor that it adds to your tile. Again, these things are optional. You may or may not do it. Kind of embellishments. Yeah. So let's close our tile here. So put in your chop somewhere sitting nicely. Cozily. Yeah. Must sign and date your tile. Put in a comment if you wish to. And I shall see you again with some more sessions on the Dingsplatz. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.